All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday Live. Today, we're here to talk about elevating your performance. How many people want to do better at what they do? Well, tonight we're going to dive into this and really, hopefully, give you some good tips and tools on how to be a better performer. Like, just be better at everything you do and stop feeling so bad if you're not doing everything quite as well as you'd like to. Hey, Debbie, I'm going to ask you to mute yourself because when I'm talking, I'm echoing. So, welcome to Elevate Your Performance, right? I know that if you're here tonight, you're saying to yourself, I work so hard, right? But I still feel like I'm always behind. How many people do that? Like you feel like you're busy all day long, but at the end of the day, you're like, I didn't get everything done, or I did them, but not as well as I would like to. Um, I have felt this way before in my life, where I felt like I was running and running and not getting everything done. And I would end the day feeling not quite fulfilled, feeling like I could have done better or I should have gotten more done. So, since implementing the tools that we're going to talk about today, I've been able to, one, accomplish more, but more importantly, feel better about what I accomplished. Because at the end of the day, I'm like, I did what I said I wanted to do today. I did it with all of the intent that I had. Like, I finished it well and I felt present with everything that I was doing, which just made me feel more connected to all of the things I had to do, whether it was doing laundry or running my son to football or in the classroom teaching. But I brought my full self to everything that I did, and I ended up feeling better about my day. So that's kind of my story, and that's what we're hoping to bring to you today. And if there are areas of your life where you want to become better at something specific, like your health or your relationships or your finances or playing tennis. I just want to throw it all in there. Like, if there's something you're trying to get better at, these tips and tools are going to help you do that. So that was a little bit about my story and what we're going to do tonight. And I'm going to let Debbie. Do you want me to read that one? I'm sorry. I know you have to unmute yourself now because I made you mute yourself.
Uh-oh, rookie mistake. Rookie mistake. All right. I love your story. And, I think a lot of us have the similar kind of story for sure. And I'm going to tell a little story. So I was never a social media person. That's a new thing because of kind of getting out there and trying to be of service to people and spread my voice, I guess. So now I'm on social media more than I ever was. I used to go once in a while on Facebook, but here's the thing: I get onto Instagram or Facebook now, and I go there with an intention to do something very specific. And does this ever happen to you? Your eye wanders and you catch some interesting, I don't know, reel that has somebody doing something interesting, or for me, it would be a recipe or an animal rescue or something like that. And before you know it, I've spent half an hour looking at stuff and I forget what I came on the Instagram or the Facebook to do in the first place. Yeah, I mean, that happened to me a lot. And so I need to be very intentional and focus and make sure that I'm watching what I'm doing and that I'm just spending the time and doing the thing that I expected to do and not letting my focus wander and then I sucked a whole touch it's such a time suck when you start watching these videos. Oh my gosh. You think, oh, I'll just watch a few videos and half an hour, and yeah, it can really add up very quickly. So what I have learned is to uh, master that by really having intention and catching myself. When I catch myself wandering, I bring myself back into focus to what I intended and what I came to do on my social media platform. So that's a little bit about my story. And so, Deb, I think you're going to
Excellent.
dive into our topic, and we'll get going now.
Okay, awesome. So, powerful concentration is the superpower that you need to elevate your performance. Um, like Debbie said, when you're able to focus on what your goal is, what your intention is, and you're really dedicated to that and you master that skill of focusing, you become more productive. So,
Yes.
all right. So, before we really dive deep in here, we just want to cover some ground rules for tonight's workshop webinar. First of all, our hands are all playful out. Dedicate this time to listening and learning, because that way you'll get the most out of it. And take some notes. I know I always have pen and paper here ready to write down little tidbits. You want to make sure that you're um, fully present, your brain's ready, you have some water, you're not hungry. I think these are on the next ones too, but you don't have to use the bathroom. And we have a prep. For those of you that do stay to the end, we have a couple amazing gifts that will impact your journey on elevating your performance. So I hope that you will join us and stay to the end because we have some bonuses for you if you do. All right. So as we said, my name's Deborah Blosnich and this is Debbie Sedify. We just have to get paired up to get together. So Debbie squared, that's what we like to refer to ourselves. And I'm going to let Debbie kind of tell you guys why do we need to build this power of concentration?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we want to just make sure that you are aware is that um, we want to. This is a muscle, and it's something that we build over time. It's like when you go to the gym, you need to work at it and work at it. But we've already talked a little bit about some of the reasons why we want to have focus and concentration. First of all, we are going to become way more effective, twice as effective if we are concentrating and have focus. Why? Because we're not wasting time. And, I used to think that I was a great multitasker and that was like a gift. And now I realize that my multitasking is really the fact that I have lack of focus and I keep moving around. And I remember I would go to work and I would say, okay, I'm going to get this one thing done. And so I would put my attention on that one thing. And before you know it, I would have my distracted onto something else, and somebody would call me, and somebody would come into my office. And at the end of the day, that thing that I started first thing in the morning was still sitting on my desk. So, definitely, you are much more effective when you are able to focus. And you also have more intention with your actions as well. And it really increases our fulfillment because we are actually getting more done than if we are wasting time. And I don't know, Deb, if you've had this happen or people in our audience can relate to this. I have something I really want to get done, but for some reason, my butt just won't get off the couch and I end up staying there a little too long. And then I don't feel so good about the fact that I didn't get what I wanted to get done. And when I used to come to the bottom of the pile and that thing I started with is still there, it just made me feel, oh, I got to try again tomorrow to get that done. And by now, it might be late for the people that were waiting for whatever it was that I was working on. So, yes, focus and concentration is so important for us. And so, we want to set ourselves up to win. And so, we have two little, I'll call them people on our shoulders. They're part of our inner voice. One of them is our inner champion. That is our champion. That is the voice that says, "Yes, I can. I can do this." And that is our voice of encouragement. This is how we can overcome our doubts and our fears. This is the person or the side of us that is not concerned about the good opinion of other people, which we call goop, good opinion of other people. And it is the side of you that will call you to your greatness. And so this is the side where our innate gut feeling is always there, and our so as a human, our natural tendency and what we want to do is to grow and contribute. That's part of why we are here on earth, is to grow and contribute. And our inner champion, that yes you can person or side of us, is saying to us, yes you can. This is how we're going to get things done, and we'll be able to grow and contribute when we listen to that inner champion. Of course, we have the other side, which is our inner criticizer. That is what most people are familiar with, the criticizer side. And that is because most of the world lives in negativity. And so when we are listening to our inner criticizer, it's cutting us off from our greatness. And this is where we get this self talk, and it comes from habit too. So we end up with all this negative self talk. But our criticizer is there in a way to protect us. It's like our guard dog. So it's not like we can ignore it, that we want to get rid of it altogether. It does serve a purpose. So our basically our nervous system is wired for comfort, and so and our soul or our inner self is wired for growth and contribution, which is where our inner champion comes in. And so when we're in growth, in comfort centric, we are probably listening to that inner criticizer. And yeah, it's probably not the best, but it does have a purpose to kind of give us an alarm if something is off in our brain. Now, why is that important? Why would I talk about the criticizer and the champion? Because basically, to master focus, you have to let your focus be on your inner champ or your champion. If you are listening to your have no focus and your focus wanders, that criticizer side of you is going to take charge. And so we want to make sure that we are having our inner champion and focusing and concentrating so our inner champion can shine, and we're not being uh, overridden by that criticizer side of us. And so our champion, I guess I said, is the can do. Yes, I'm not going to listen to goop. It's the one that's going to knock that villain out of the way, and just we can really make it. If so, that's the champion. And our criticizer is the one that's telling us, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't do that. I'm no good. I can't do things." And so, even though you can't kill your criticizer, what I'm going to say is water your champion. And if you water the champion, the seeds will grow and we'll have roses in our garden instead of weeds on that side. Deb, I think you're going to take over to talk about focusing on energy.
I am. I'm going to talk about how our focus takes energy. And learning concentration is not about doing more, but it's about just actually doing the things that matter with our full attention. So, focus does take energy. And where do we get our energy? Well, it comes from the air that we breathe, the water we drink, and the food that we eat. And the first thing that we need to do, I'm going to ask you to mute yourself again, Debbie. I'm sorry. It's distracting me. I don't know how anybody else hears it. Thank you. All right. So, focus does take energy, and we have to feed our bodies energy. So, the first way that we give our bodies energy is by oxygenating. So, we breathe, everybody's breathing, or else you wouldn't be alive, right? But most of us have a tendency to just breathe shallowly. We're not thinking about our breathing because it is one of those things that will happen whether we think about it or not, right? But in order to get some quality breaths and really oxygenate our body, there are some things that we can do. First of all, when you breathe in through your nose, it just kind of automatically sends that air way deep down in your lungs and what we call like belly breathing. So you'll notice if you're just sitting there breathing normal, right? Like you don't really feel a whole lot happening. But once you breathe in through your nose, your lungs really fill up and they go what we call belly breaths. And that is going to kind of massage your lymphatic system and really does awesome things for your body. Um, so you want to practice breathing that way and really um, getting deep breaths, getting lots of oxygen throughout your whole body. And um, some tools that I would like to share with you today are there's two different methods to be really mindful of your breathing. And one of them is the 10 breaths, which would be to take 10 breaths at a slightly faster than normal pace. So kind of like in, out, in, out, in, out. Okay. Now I am going to have you do that with me. um, but first, what I'd like you to do is first make sure you're sitting somewhere and you can do this with me. And take a look around you, find something colorful to look at. All right. The tree, like for me, I can look out the window and see the trees and some flowers. All right. Now close your eyes and we're going to take these 10 deep breaths and we're going to hold them in and then release them. Okay. So let's go ahead and start that with your eyes closed. Let's take 10 deep breaths in and out. So let's go. 1, 2, 3. If I'm going too fast for you and you feel dizzy, don't breathe as fast as me, but these are supposed to be faster than normal. So 4, 5, deep in through your nose, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now slowly open your eyes and you may feel a little dizzy or disoriented, but look again at the colorful things around you. You may notice, as I do, that they're a little bit more vibrant now. And that's because by taking those deep yet quick breaths, we're oxygenating our bodies faster. And when it's more oxygenated, and this dizzy feeling is like your body's like, whoo, we haven't had all this oxygen all day. So that's good to practice several times a day. Or even if you're just feeling a little low in energy, take some deep breaths and really oxygenate yourself. The other one that we had listed there, the 5-5-5, I'm just going to go back to that real quick. That's more of a box breathing, if you've heard of that, where it's like breathe in for 5, hold for 5, breathe out for 5, Okay. And it's called the 5-5-5 because you're going to breathe in for 5, hold for 5, breathe out for 5. Okay. And again, I suggest you do that multiple times a day. So there we go. That's the beginning of it all, right? Breathing. The next important way to keep ourselves energized throughout the day is hydration. And I know some people think, yes, but I have 3 cups of coffee a day and 2 sodas. And I really feel like that's enough, right? Don't they recommend 4 to 6 glasses of water a day? Okay, listen, having your coffee is fine, having your tea is fine, but what you really want to do for your body is you need to be drinking water, and not just any water. You want to try to get the best quality water that you can, um, because it's going to be in the purest form. And a lot of waters, depending on where you live and how your water is treated, may have some things in it that we have believed up to this point were good for us, right? And I think initially, um, these things were introduced to our water as safety precautions and things like that. So, fluoride in our water is one thing that everybody thinks is really great for our teeth, and it may be, but there's also a downside to that. We have a pineal gland, and when you consume fluoride, which is in our water, it starts calcifying our pineal gland. So that's something that you can look into because we could talk like for 2 days about that alone. And I know it sounds crazy. I really do. It seems so far-fetched, but check it out for yourself and make decisions that work best for you. But we definitely do want to try to avoid all the fluoride that's in our water. And then we also have chlorine in our water, and that's used, as they would say, to purify our water and make it safe for drinking, right? But unfortunately, it is just not really healthy. So depending on the level of chlorine in your water, it might be something that you might want to get checked, or you just might want to use a filtration system um, on the water that is coming to your house to decrease the amount of chlorine and fluoride that you're ingesting on a daily basis. And again, you want to use quality water. And there are lots of different recommendations about how much water you should be drinking. Um, some people would say 2 liters. Some people would say a gallon. Some people say about 50% of your body weight, because you have to remember your body is like 90% water. So you do want to be consuming water at a, I recommend at least the 2 liters a day. And I try to aim for that every day. And I notice that my skin feels better. I just look more rested because I have proper hydration and my energy levels stay up. So I hope that you will all try to oxygenate and hydrate. And then, of course, the other source of energy for our focus is our food. And again, a topic that we could talk about for a long time about that is what kind of foods we're ingesting. So just be mindful about what you're eating. And then go ahead, Deb, go ahead, flip us to the next one. The last part of maintaining your focus is activity, right? Luckily for me, I have a job. I'm a teacher and I'm off for the summer. So right now I'm getting lots of extra activity. And at my job, I'm not sitting behind a desk. I am up and moving all day long. But when I want to learn something, I have a tendency to sit down and be like, all right, I'm going to just sit here and read and take notes or listen and take notes, right? But besides just oxygenating and hydrating, I need to move. So about every 45 minutes, you should take a 5-minute break and just move. You could do some yoga poses. You could just stretch a little, but you want to move. Get your blood flowing, get that oxygen flowing, and do that. And that is just going to make you ready for your next session or part of your day, whatever activity that is. You're just going to be like, all right, now I'm ready. I feel better. So I absolutely think that doing a 5-minute activity pretty much every hour, even if it's just a quick little walk. And I do this at school with my students. We take little, we call them brain breaks. And adults need brain breaks too. So hopefully there's some good tidbits in there. As I said, anything that you're questioning, because I know I said some unusual things there, check them out on your own and make a decision for yourself. And Debbie, unmute yourself, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the next part of focus.
Boy, that's good that you remembered better than I did that I have to unmute myself. And yeah, there are actually workplaces where they have breaks for people to stretch and make sure that they are getting a little bit of exercise. I guess that's why the going to the coffee machine, oops, the water cooler is good because it forces you to get up and get at least a few steps in between. And I know my watch every 10 minutes to the hour, if I haven't gotten up from my desk, it gives me a reminder. I need to get up
Cool.
at least once a day and spend at least a minute walking around and standing up. All right, so now that we have all these tools in place for our body, you know, that we're going to hydrate, we're going to make sure we got enough oxygen and food and all that stuff. Now we are going to talk about how we control our environment because if our environment can be very distracting to us, and then that means we don't have the kind of focus that we want to have. So we're going to start by minimizing distractions. So we are going to do things to make sure that we can clear the deck, I'll call it. So if you do not have a way to close your door, uh, make some time. And they recommend about 3 hours a day where it is your focus time, and this is your sacred time. Nobody is getting in, like the world can wait. So, well, when I was growing up, we didn't have cell phones and all these alarms and stuff like that. I know I'm dating myself, but we definitely, if you couldn't get a hold of somebody, you waited until you got a chance to talk to them. And now with all of the email and notifications and stuff, it's a lot harder to keep block people out. But you do need to do that. So if you have to, or if you want to, or if it's necessary, put up a do not disturb sign, but make it a habit that you're going to spend 3 hours a day with in focus, and that's your sacred time. And if you do that, that is where you're going to 10x the work that you're doing and your efficiency. Turn off your cell phones, any push notifications, all of your the any of those things, and make sure that you're able to focus and get rid of those distractions. Now, the other thing that we can do, and I like to do this, is I actually believe it or not, working in a quiet space is hard for me. When I'm working at home, it's not so much because there's a little bit of stuff going on. But when I was used to study at the library, anytime anybody would walk by or they'd turn a page or they would whisper, it would like just grate on me because it was so quiet that all those noises were amplified. One of the things that you can do is actually listen to some music while you are working and focusing. But oh, I forgot some of my distractions. I didn't really. It's kind of here. Hang on, the little thing for the music. So I'll talk
Yeah.
about that a little more, and then I'm going to do some more distractions. Okay. Make sure you eat first if you're hungry. So this is back to the distractions. So this is more your physical distractions. And Deb kind of talked about this already. Minimizing the distractions by having, if you're hungry, get something to eat before you start. It's not to be eating while you're working. Same thing with hydration. Have your water there and make sure you have it available. And then the other thing, if you're drinking a lot of water, make sure you go to the bathroom before you start your focus
Session.
time, so that you are clearing that part of the deck. So there's our environment we're going to clear, and then we're going to clear all of this distractions that are coming from our body. All right. So then once we do that, we're going to use our music as support. And like I said, this is not just any music. It's not dance music. It's, well, I guess you could dance to it if you really wanted to, but it is very specific music. And there's two parts to it. This is Baroque music, which is, I guess I think of Mozart or Chopin or something like that when I think of Baroque music. And that is one way that you can do it. The other way is what we call binaural beats. And so the Baroque music actually enhances our concentration, and it has been known to decrease the incidence of ADHD and ADD, attention deficit syndrome, and all of that stuff. So the reason it works is that it actually gets our brain working in a certain way. And so it helps with our learning and our focus. And I know I like to do it when I do that, because it kind of um, it gives me a reminder to focus as well when I'm listening to that Baroque music. And I'm going to play some in a second. It reminds me what to do. And then there is the binaural beats. And when you're doing the binaural beats, basically what that means is that you are getting two different frequencies in your ears, and you need to wear headset for this to actually get the effect. But because there's a different frequency in each ear, it actually helps to connect our brain in the middle, kind of thing, and connect both sides of our brain, that logical side, the left brain side, with our right brain creative side, and brings the two together. But again, you need to wear headphones to get the full effect of the binaural beats. And what happens with the binaural beats is that what is happening is it's helping to lower our brain waves. So when our brain is functioning at different brain waves, depending on what we are doing and where we're kind of at in our day. And so when you are sleeping, your brain waves are in what they call delta, which is 0 hertz to 4 hertz, and that's our sleep. And then when we're dreaming and kind of when you're first waking up, you move into theta, which is 4 to 8 hertz. And this is where our genius lies. And then there's the alpha state, which is 8 to 12 hertz. This is where our creativity is. And this is where we want to be when we're trying to focus, or not trying, when we are focusing. So the ideal place is actually at 10 hertz. And then our day to day living, we're in beta, which is 12 to 15 hertz. And then when we get stressed out, we're moving up to 18 hertz. So we really want to optimize our focus and create focus time. And also, it helps us with our creativity by getting into the alpha state. And that binaural beats is a tool or an aid to help you get into that creativity and focus state. So what I would like to do now is to actually um, do my binaural beats. So I'm going to see if I can get that done here and listen to it for 1 second. It's going to start with the binaural beat part, which you're going to hear you'll be able to hear the two different frequencies. It'll kind of give like a wobbly thing. And then from there, it's going to start into the Baroque music. So we'll just do a brief amount so that you can get the feel for this. All right, here we go. All right. I think that was enough time for you to actually get the idea of the kind of the Baroque piano playing, and then you could hear the kind of the two different frequencies, and that's more effective when you have your headset on. Now, if you want to, just you can Google Baroque music or binaural beats, and you can get there's lots of free YouTube versions, and also there are actually sites where you can make your own binaural beat music if you're doing it just for your own pleasure. If you're doing it for commercial, then there's you have to get a license for that, but just um, you can do that and check out your own binaural beats and your own Baroque music so that you can up your game when you are focusing and concentrating on what you're doing. And don't forget to block out that time every day for focus time. It's sacred time. Now, I think what we're going to do is look at some exercises that we can do or we get to do to help with our focus and concentration. Deb, I'm going to turn it back to you.
All right. Thanks for the introduction to the binaural beats. That is one way that we can bring that brain coherence when we're listening to those different tones, and our brain has to create a single wave, right? Another thing that we want to do is, oh,
Are you going to the
that's what I
cross
would,
crawl?
that is what I was going to do. Thank you. I know, I'm like, oh, I jumped ahead. So another way to create this brain coherency, though, can you please mute yourself? I'm sorry. Can you mute yourself? Oh, thank you. Okay, sorry. All right. So another way to create this brain coherency is what we call cross crawls. And that can be taking your right elbow and touching your left knee and your left elbow and your right knee, as shown in the pictures. And you can stand up. So during your 5-minute movement break, do some cross crawls because it's going to build that brain coherency. A fun one that I like to do, especially since most of us are probably sitting during this, and for people that cannot get up for whatever reason, I like to do the nose and the ear. I'm pinching it, but I don't need to. Now sound like a frog. But anyways, you're doing your nose and your ear, and then you go down and then back up, and then down and then back up. But you're switching which hand's on the nose, which hand's on the ear, and you can try to go faster and faster. I even got confused. I'm not sure where I was going there, but so that's one way to build your brain coherence. So, binaural beats, cross crawls, excellent ways to build that. And I know, Deb, I went out of order, so I apologize. Do you want to go? Should we? Because I do want to talk about our block time. It's so important. Ah, I'm sorry, guys. That's my fault. I jumped ahead. But it's very important. I do want to talk about this. And I know Debbie said to like set aside like 3 hours a day of this extremely focused time, right? But what I want to talk about a little bit is using block time and the 5-minute reset for most of your day. So what's block time, right? Well, that's setting up different parts of your day for different activities. Like obviously, when I'm at work and if you work at home, that's fine, but you can set aside times in your day for specific tasks related to your work, specific tasks related to running your home, specific tasks relating to your relationships with your spouse or your children. So what is block time? Block time is basically setting your day into 1 hour increments, right? So your first hour of your day could be me time. Well, if you have little kids, then we all know that's not happening, right? That's just time to wake up. You might get 5 minutes to yourself, um, but you want to block out even the me time in the morning. So block your time out. What's the first thing we're going to do? You're going to get ready for your day. That could include, or it does include, waking, your morning routine, whatever that is for you, brushing your teeth, washing your face, showering, exercise, right? Put them all in there. They're scheduled. And actually, for most of us, exercising is probably going to be its own block of time. I'm assuming most people would do. That fits into an hour segment, right? But what you want to do with each block of your time. So get ready for the day, start the day, and then whatever that means. Only you know your schedule. You know what I mean? Exercise, work, lunch, kids, spouse, project, whatever it is, you want to do it in 45-minute increments. And this does several things. One, you don't get overwhelmed. You can look at your day and say, okay, this is when I'm doing this. And during that time, that's what I'm focused on. Outside of like a major crisis or somebody having an emergency, this is what I'm doing in this 45 minutes. And it's only 45 minutes because the last 15, you're going to take your break. You're going to go oxygenate, hydrate, and move. And then get yourself refocused for whatever the next activity is. And I know this actually almost sounds like a lot of work, right? And when you first start doing this kind of block time for your day, it is going to feel, it could feel, not that it will. Some people, this will come just really easily. And for other people, are going to be like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of work trying to figure this all out. But as with any skill, it takes a little bit of practice. But once you start seeing the results of it, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, at the end of the day, one, I accomplished most of what I set out to do today. The things that I did do, I feel way better about how they went. And when I spent time with people, I felt a better connection there because instead of being distracted with like, oh, well, just hold on because I'm getting a work phone call here. I'm going to have to answer. Just hold on, right? Oh, I just want to check. No, don't do that. You could set your, like when you're with somebody, be with them. When you're focused on a project at work, focus on the project at work. And one thing Debbie mentioned too was like, don't be distracted by your phone. And this is something I think we all feel this urgency to respond to everybody, whether it's emails or texts. We feel like, oh, if I don't answer right away, they're going to think I'm being rude. No. Well, they might, but you don't need to worry about that. You Everything is not an emergency. It doesn't have to be answered right away. And all it really does for yourself is it respects your time and it respects theirs too, because if you set aside a half hour a day or your 45-minute hour, it says during this hour, I will respond to texts and emails. There, now you're giving your full focus to whomever you're responding to. So you're respecting them even more. So that's kind of like the bulk of um, setting yourself up to win and being more productive is by trying to implement this block time with a reset. So, all right. And thanks for putting up with me getting my cross crawls in there the wrong time. But I was just excited about doing the cross crawls.
I know that's your favorite thing is to do the that nose thing that I am not coordinated with
Keep
at
practicing.
all. I have to practice. It
Keep
reminds
practicing.
me when I go get my eyebrows done, she asks me to hold my eyelids and I always get it wrong. It took I think for the first year she was correcting me every single time. Now
That's a
I
good
get
one. I like that. Okay.
so
All right.
I now I get it right, but hold the wrong place, but that's okay. She's there to help and guide me. That's all that matters. But yeah, so some really good points on blocking your time and being present for other people, because when you're focused on whatever you're focused on, and present and intentional, whether it's just with your kids or it's for work, you will be able to accomplish so much more when you are able to focus and not be scattered all over the place. And one of the things I like to do is when I go out for dinner with somebody is put my phone away and not
Yeah.
be I remember going to a meeting and there was all of the Canadians were at a table at the back just listening to whatever speeches were going on. And you look around the room and everybody is on their phone. Nobody is actually paying attention to whoever's talking. They're all on their phone. And so then you miss all the stuff that's going on because
Right.
and as it goes, we really cannot focus on two things at once. We think we can, and we think we can multitask, but that is a myth. We cannot focus on more than one thing at a time. It just doesn't work. It's not the way our brain is wired. All
Right. I
right.
love
So
that.
we're going to build some more muscle. One of the things, as Deb mentioned, is the cross crawls, which are help to kind of mix it up as well. And that helps you to stay to pay attention and not be sleeping awake and kind of missing things. So that's a good one. One of the things you could always do and is brush your teeth with your left hand if you're right-handed and see how
Right.
that works, and really shake up your routine and do something out of the ordinary just to give your brain and your subconscious a little bit of a challenge. And here's another one that I love because I'm not very good at it yet. I'm still working at it, and that is to do a word count. And so when you're doing this word count, basically, if you're going to be distracted, this is where we're going to build that focus for what is around us and really focusing on what's on the page. So you are going to start, you can start at, let's say, 100 words and get a book, any book. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, you could even pick a magazine if you wanted, but just get somewhere where there's a block of text that's just plain text. And you're going to pick a starting point, and then you are going to count 100 words till you get to 100 words. Then you're going to stop. You're going to stop at that 100th word, and you are going to count backwards from 100 back to 1 and see if you get back to the same word that you started with. So you're going to do that. And once you can do it 3 times in a row, then you can say, I mastered that level, and add another 50 words to that. So now you would be up at 150 words, and you're going to do that again. And so you can practice that every day, once a day. Just set 5 minutes aside to practice counting 100 words and then 100 words backwards and see if you can get to the end. Now, if you're doing this for a while, switch pages, because at some point you're actually going to remember, your brain is going to have the pattern down, and you're kind of cheating. So don't always pick the same page. You could just go to any page and try that. So I thought it would be fun to and set a goal to get to 500 words, because if you can get to 500 words where you can go forwards and backwards, you are a master focus person. Only 1%, the top 1% of people that can focus can get to 500 words. So set a goal to get to 500 words. And yeah, I still have a way to go, Deb, on that one.
Me as well.
Yeah. So here is a little one. So we're not going to do 100 words. We're going to do 50 words. So I want you to practice or try going up 50 words and then back 50 words, and see if you get back to as. All right, so we're going to give you a few seconds to do that. And ready, go. Did you do it? Me too. I got back. Woohoo. So I passed my 50 words on to 100. So try that at home. See how you do with the word count. It's a great way to practice focus for you. All right.
And some tips with that though too are to actually not start at the beginning of the paragraph and to always start at a new spot so that your brain doesn't, because it'll start being like, oh, that's the 13th word. It's weird, but it will.
It is, yeah. So that's why you also want to flip around different pages and pick different
Right?
paragraphs and things
And
like
just
that.
mark your start with a little pencil.
Yeah. All right. Now, I just have a quote because I like quotes just to
Love it.
remind us about our focus. And, this is a Hindu scripture. We are not kept from our goals by obstacles, but a clearer path to a lesser goal. And so, if we are not focusing, we might be kind of not being able to get to those higher goals that we're looking for. So focus, focus, focus. And then I'm going to move on. There's a couple of book recommendations for you if you are interested. There's a book called Body, Mind, and Sport by John Douillard. You can see about that book. And then there is The One Thing by Gary Keller. So those are two book recommendations related to focus and concentration. So I'll give you a second for that. We do have our free gift. You can reach out to us if you catch this on the replay. You can contact us about getting your free gift. Well, or you can just download it yourself. There is a 6-step formula for focus and concentration, and kind of how to get yourself ready and prepared. And then there is the golden question, which you can ask before you start your focus session. That's really a good way to get laser focused on what is it that I should do in my focus time. So
Right?
there's the QR code you can scan, or it's at tinyurl.com, concentration hyphen gifts. All
Powerful
right.
tool there.
Powerful, powerful tools. And then I'm going to end with just a little something that we are very excited about. It's something that's a brand new documentary that is out, what, about a week, Deb?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Brand
so
new.
it's been out about a week. It is called Rise, the Science of Transformation. And so if this is a way, if you are I guess looking on ways that you can break free from limiting beliefs and actually achieve your goals. So a lot of the stuff that, well, all the stuff that Deb and I are talking about comes from the Elite Mentorship Forum program and what we've learned going through that 6-month transformation. So this documentary is really about how people have been able to shatter their limiting beliefs, and unlock the transformation. Highly recommend taking a peek at it. And you know, you could sit down with some popcorn if you want and watch it. I think it's just under an hour, the whole thing, but you will get a really good flavor for the Elite Mentorship Forum program. And if you are interested, get back in touch with either Deb or I. And we would love to, if you have any questions at all, we would love to answer your questions for you. And that, I think, is it
It
for
is.
today.
Thank you to everyone that joined us tonight and staying till the end. I do. I love talking about this because who couldn't elevate themselves just a little bit more than what they're already doing?
You know, we all can elevate ourselves. And when I went into the Elite Mentorship Forum and I joined up, I wasn't intending to join. I wasn't looking for a transformation program. I was looking and doing research about why people who know that something is good for them don't do it. And believe it or not, that was one of the best decisions I've made in my life to take that course.
And you
So
got that
sometimes,
answer and a whole lot more.
yeah, and sometimes things just pop up that we need to do, and it's highly recommended. But don't trust us. Watch the
Yeah, check it out.
documentary for sure. All right.
So, but
That's
thanks for
it. We're
being
at the
here.
top of the hour. We will check you out again next week and have a good evening.
Good night.